in his class. Let's switch gears, players, back to some NBA, and let's talk about the Portland Trail Blazers. As Mike D'Antoni has serious interest in coaching the Portland Trail Blazers, according to Sam Amick of The Athletic. So, Clarence, question here is, should Damian Lillard want Mike D'Antoni as his next coach?
I think whatever Damian Lillard wants, he need to get. I think that I don't think he want Mike D'Antoni as his head coach, because he needs someone that knows the game, the game of basketball, someone that can put him in position to win. He needs a coach that won chips, that won finals. Because Portland ain't seen that in a long time. He doesn't need no random, he's a good coach because he's going to the Nets. He coached the Nets, and if he win a Super Bowl, he can bring that experience over here. I get that type of narrative, but Damian Lillard needs someone that can get under his skin, make him go deeper into his more so of him. Yeah. And D'Antoni is one of those guys, he run a lot of isolation. Yeah. And what I can see it now, scheming up Damian Lillard and CJ McCollum, if he's still there, put him in isolation position to score. So how long that could keep going? So I just think that the Portland Trail Blazers, they still need to look at other options. Because D'Antoni, I wouldn't recommend them picking him.
No, I completely agree with you. I don't think Damian Lillard should want Mike D'Antoni as his next head coach. I do got a lot of respect for Mike D'Antoni. Mike D'Antoni is a 2-time NBA Coach of the Year. I remember back, I think it was the 2007 NBA playoffs. Him, along with James Harden, they got the Houston Rockets to a Game 7 in the Western Conference Finals. They were just going up against a juggernaut in the Golden State Warriors. But you can make a legitimate argument, if Chris Paul didn't get injured, the Rockets could have possibly upset the Golden State Warriors that year in the Western Conference Finals. So I give him a lot of credit for the success, that the Houston Rockets had in the James Harden era. But I don't believe Damian Lillard should want him as head coach for the Portland Trail Blazers, because Mike D'Antoni does not preach defense. And last year, the Portland Trail Blazers were one of the worst defensive teams in the NBA.
Bottom.
Me, you, Aster, and Raquel could go out there and score at least 70 points on them. For real. They were awful defensively. That's part of the reason why they got beat.
How many points you scoring
in the first round? I can get you 15.
Oh, 15.
I can get you 15, but
Raquel might give you 10.
Raquel might give you 20 on the Portland Trail Blazers defense. Seriously, that Trail Blazers team defensively, they were awful. They couldn't get no stops, and that was part of the reason why they got beat in the first round against the Denver Nuggets. Me personally, I believe the Portland Trail Blazers, since Jamal Murray was out, I believe they had the more talented team. But they don't play defense. And in the playoffs, it's about being able to get stops. They don't play defense to save their lives. And you're going to bring in Mike D'Antoni, someone who doesn't preach defense at all? Yeah. There are reports from players who've played on D'Antoni's teams who've said in practice, all they do is practice offense. That's it. In practice, that's all he teaches is offense. He don't teach nothing about defense at all.
Need to keep him away from Portland.
And that's my biggest. That's why I'm saying, why in the hell would Damian Lillard and the Trailblazers? Why would they entertain the idea of bringing in Mike D'Antoni when he doesn't preach defense? That's what they need the most on this team. So I don't think it's a good fit. And also another thing I want to say, even though Mike D'Antoni did do a good job with James Harden and the Houston Rockets, Mike D'Antoni has been a head coach in the NBA for over 15 years. Over 15 years. And he's never had an NBA Finals appearance. Never. Okay? Those Phoenix Suns teams, led by Steve Nash, they never got to the NBA Finals.
True.
James Harden and the Rockets, when they were playing with Mike D'Antoni, never got to the NBA Finals. When he was with the Lakers, Kobe didn't even want to play for D'Antoni, if I'm not mistaken. So there are a lot of players who don't even buy into D'Antoni's system. Some players do, and they thrive. James Harden thrived in his system. Jeremy Lin, who was average, thrived in his system. I think Damian Lillard will probably thrive in his system as an offensive player and will probably be a legitimate MVP candidate because he's a gifted scorer, but some players don't even thrive well in the D'Antoni system. So I'm not even sure his system overall is a system that could win a championship because he hasn't got to a finals.
Good thing you said that, though, because D'Antoni, he made MVP. Steve Nash, James Harden, and et cetera, et cetera.
Jamie Lin had a good run.
So
but Kobe and Melo didn't. Remember, Melo played with him in New York.
Right.
And Melo able to get along.
He was an MVP candidate, but he won scoring title. So he got something to show. So let me ask you this. Let's switch to Damian Lillard. Do you believe Damian Lillard should want out of Portland?
Now, see, this is something that before this year, I was of the belief that Damian Lillard should stay loyal. You should stay loyal to the Portland Trail Blazers. Like he loves that area. He loves that region of the country, and he's obviously well known, and is a big time person that helps the community. Like he really helps people in that community. So I was one of those people that said I think Damian Lillard should stay in Portland until I watched him in this year's playoffs, and I seen Damian Lillard give everything that he had. And they still couldn't beat the Denver Nuggets without Jamal Murray. So now I've changed my whole perspective on Damian Lillard and the Portland Trail Blazers. I think Damian Lillard should try to get to a true contender in a bigger market, whether it be the New York Knicks, whether it be the Lakers, or LeBron and AD. If Damian Lillard goes to the Knicks, there's other free agents that might sign with the Knicks as well. No. You don't know. I would look, man, Damian Lillard playing at the Mecca every night in Madison Square Garden.
He's gonna sell tickets.
He'll sell tickets, and you don't know what could happen. The Knicks had a good year this year, and they didn't have a superstar. Imagine what they could do with Damian Lillard. Damian Lillard will attract other marquee free agents and will make them want to come to New York and play for the Knicks. But I think overall, Dame should want out of Portland, and I think he should go to a bigger market and improve his chances at finally winning the championship.
I agree with you, Mr. Larkins, man, because I think Portland is not the place you want to win a championship team, man. Let's just be all honest. He's a great player. He's walking into that age like LeBron James and KD. They ain't win their first ring until like they was around 30.
Right.
So I think if Damian Lillard, he's to that point like I'm an offensive threat. I'm a closer. I can do what you do with Ags. I just need to be on the team that can have my back and I can help lead with. Because I think like Portland is not the place for real. Because Terry Stotts failed to report the defense. Like defense was a mess, and they was relying on Damian Lillard too much. CJ McCollum, I felt like he hasn't played well in the playoffs too. So you don't want that. You don't want that for the next year. So I think what Dame should do, he need to start considering his options of where he can go, and maybe bring in a superstar like you said that can follow him with him. But Portland, he's not winning nothing.
And I remember at one point in Kevin Garnett's career, and I think in Kevin Garnett's Hall of Fame speech, he talked about how if he would have left Minnesota earlier in his career, he could have possibly won more championships. He left Minnesota for Boston late in his career. He was already in his 30s. Damian Lillard is in his 30s already. Yeah. So Damian Lillard, he doesn't have much time playing at a high level and being able to compete for championships, being on a legitimate championship contender. So right now, if I'm Damian Lillard, I'm seriously considering trying to get my way the hell up out of Portland.
Got 5 more years.
I mean, you ain't winning championships.
Right.
And let's be honest, it ain't much to do in Portland anyway. Just like Indiana, it ain't nothing to do in Portland. If I'm going to lose, damn it, I want to be able to lose and get off work and go have something to do. Okay? If I'm losing out, I'm playing for the Las Vegas Raiders. At least I know I'm in Vegas. Okay? Yeah. I got the strip every night I can go to every night. If I'm in LA, it's LA. Okay? Miami, it's Ocean Drive. If you're going to lose, damn it, lose somewhere where you have some entertainment outside of your professional sport. And Damian Lillard don't got that. He ain't got that.
So assuming, Damian Lillard, he decided he want to stay in Portland, what moves should they make this offseason to be true championship contenders?
What I think the Portland Trail Blazers need to do? If Damian Lillard does stay in Portland, I think the Portland Trail Blazers should take the blueprint that the Milwaukee Bucks took before this year when they went out and they brought in Jrue Holiday and they also signed PJ Tucker in free agency. That was the problem with the Portland Trail Blazers. They got a lot of players who could score, but they ain't got no rough riders, Clarence. You need some rough riders when you're trying to win a championship. You need players like PJ Tucker, like Jrue Holiday, like last year with the Lakers. You had Dwight Howard coming off the bench. You had JaVale McGee. You had players who, were rough riders and mad taking hard fouls. The Portland Trail Blazers don't have that. They got too many players that's looking to score, and they got offensive gifted players. Damian Lillard, CJ McCollum, Melo. They got Nurkic. They got too much of offensive threats on their team, but they don't have enough rough riders and defensive specialists to be able to beat championship contenders. So I think they should take the approach that the Milwaukee Bucks took before last year and try to add players like PJ Tucker and Jrue Holiday.
I don't think that's enough, though, Trey. I just think that if you decide to stay, you need to be sure that Portland is going to bring in another superstar that's going to complement him or maybe be better. Someone like Kawhi, someone like, hell, like not Luka, but hell, like Giannis, if he's not happy in Milwaukee,
Yeah.
you need to bring in another superstar that can complement him, so they can be able to put up monster points and get further in the playoffs. Because you said bring in like Drew Holiday and PJ Tucker, yes, to help him on the defensive side, but on the scoring side, Damian's still gonna be dropping the numbers he's been dropping right now. You need someone that you need a partner in crime.
You know who I like with them? I would love if the Portland Trailblazers found a way to trade for Karl Anthony Towns. I think Karl Anthony Towns would be nice with Damian Lillard.
Better hurry for Dallas get him.
Yeah, that's a possibility Dallas might get him, but I think he could be good with Dame too.
Yeah.
I think two players who desperately need each other are Dame and the Greek Freak. I think Damian Lillard and Giannis would be perfect together.
But he got to come to Portland. He got to come to Milwaukee. He'd be the number 2 option.
Don't do that. Don't do that because we know who the closer would be. The closer would be my guy.
We know,
not your guy.
Yeah, we know that though. But Giannis set the tone, man.
Don't do that, man.